When Thetis comes down from Olympus to the coast of Troy, she finds Achilles lying face down in the sand with the body of Patroclus. Thetis speaks to her son. "My child, leave your friend to lie there dead. We must, though it breaks our hearts. The will of the gods has crushed him once for all. But here, Achilles, accept this glorious armor. Look, a gift from the god of fire, burnished bright, finer than any mortal has ever borne across his back." Thetis lays the splendid armor at the feet of Achilles. All of his troops, the Myrmidons, back away from the works of Hephaestus, but Achilles stares straight at them while his anger grows. Then he addresses his mother. "Mother, armor sent by the god, you're right. Only immortal gods could forge such work. No man on earth could ever bring it off. Now, by heaven, I'll arm and go to war. But all the while my blood runs cold with fear. Menoetius' fighting son, the carrion blowflies will settle into his wounds, gouged deep by the bronze. Worms will breed and seethe, defile the man's corpse. His life's ripped out, his flesh may rot to nothing." And Thetis reassures him. "Oh, my child, wipe these worries from your mind. I'll find a way to protect him from those swarms, the vicious flies that devour men who fall in battle. He could lie there dead till a year has run its course, and his flesh still stand firm, even fresher than now. So go and call the Argive warriors to the muster. Renounce your rage at the proud commander Agamemnon. Then arm for battle quickly. Don your fighting power." Thetis puts ambrosia and nectar in the nostrils of Patroclus to keep his body from rotting. Achilles calls the Achaeans to muster. All come together on the shore. Achilles comes forward and speaks first. "Agamemnon, was it better for both of us, after all, for you and me to rage at each other, raked by anguish, consumed by heart-sick strife, all for a young girl? If only Artemis had cut her down at the ships with one quick shaft. That day I destroyed Larnacis, chose her as my prize. How many fewer friends had gnawed the dust of the wide world, brought down by enemy hands, while I raged on and on. Better? Yes, for Hector and Hector's Trojans, not for the Argives. For years to come, I think, they will remember the feud that flared between us both. Enough. Let bygones be bygones. Done is done. Despite my anguish, I will beat it down, the mounting fury inside me, down by force. Now, by God, I call a halt to all my anger. It's wrong to keep on raging, heart inflamed forever. Quickly, drive our long-haired Achaeans to battle now, so I can go at the Trojans once again and test their strength, and see if they still long to camp the night at the ships. They'll gladly sink to a knee and rest at home, I'd say. Whoever comes through alive from the heat of combat, out from under my spear." Then Agamemnon speaks. "My friends, fighting Danaans, aides of Ares, when a man stands up to speak, it's well to listen. not to interrupt him, the only courteous thing. Even the finest speaker finds intrusions hard. Yet how can a person hear or say a word? This howling din could drown the clearest voice. But I will declare my inmost feelings to Achilles. And you, the rest of the Argives, listen closely. Every man of you here, mark each word I say. Often the armies brought this matter up against me. They would revile me in public. But I am not to blame. Zeus and fate and the fury stalking through the night, they are the ones who drove that savage madness in my heart, that day in assembly when I seized Achilles' prize. On my own authority, true, but what could I do? A god impels all things to their fulfillment. Rune, eldest daughter of Zeus, she blinds us all, that fatal madness. She with those delicate feet of hers, never touching the earth, gliding over the heads of men to trap us all. She entangles one man, now another. Why, she in her frenzy blinded Zeus one time, highest, greatest of men and gods, they say. Even Father Zeus, Hera deceived him blind, feminine as she is, and only armed with guile. That day in Thebes, ringed with tower on tower, Alcmena was poised to bear invincible Heracles. So the proud father declared to all immortals, "Hear me, all you gods and all goddesses too, as I proclaim what's brooding deep inside me. Today the goddess of birth pangs and labor will bring to light a human child, a man-child, born of the stock of men who spring from my blood, one who will lord it over all who dwell around him." But teeming with treachery, noble Hera set her trap. You will prove a liar when the time comes to crown your words with action. Come now, my Olympian, swear your inviolate oath that he shall lord it over all who dwell around him. That child who drops between a woman's knees today, born of the stock of men who spring from Zeus's blood. And Zeus suspected nothing, not a word of treachery. He swore his mighty oath, blinded from that hour on. Speeding down in a flash from Mount Olympus' summit, Hera reached Achaean Argos in no time, where, she knew for a fact, the hardy wife of Sthenelus, Perseus' own son, was about to bear her child. But only 7 months gone. So into the light Queen Hera brought the baby, 2 months shy, and the goddess stopped Alcmena's hour of birth. She held back the lady of labor's birthing pains and rushed in person to give the word to Zeus. Zeus, father, lord of the lightning bolt, here's a piece of news to warm your heart. Today an illustrious son is born to rule the Argives, Eurystheus, son of Sthenelus, descended of Perseus. So he is born of your own stock and immortal blood, and it's only right for him to rule the Argives. With that, a stab of agony struck his deep heart. Suddenly seizing Rune by her glossy, oiled braids, he was furious, raging. Now he swore his inviolate oath that never again would she return to Olympus' starry skies, that maddening goddess, Rune, who blinds us all. With that, he whirled her round in his massive hand and flung her out of the brilliant, starry skies, and she soon found herself in the world of men. But Zeus could never think of ruin without a groan whenever he saw Heracles, his own dear son, endure some shameful labor Eurystheus forced upon him. And so with me, I tell you, when tall Hector, with that flashing helmet of his, kept slaughtering Argives, pinned against our ships, how could I once forget that madness, that frenzy, the ruin that blinded me from the first day? But since I was blinded and Zeus stole my wits, I am intent on setting things to rights. At once, I'll give that priceless ransom paid for friendship. Gear up for battle now, and rouse the rest of your armies. As for the gifts, here I am to produce them all that good Odysseus promised you in full, the other day when he approached your tents. Or, if you prefer, hold off a moment now, much as your heart would spur you on to war. Aids will fetch that treasure trove from my ship. They'll bring it here to you, so you can behold what hoards I'll give to set your heart at peace. And Achilles responds, Field Marshal Atrides, Lord of men Agamemnon, produce the gifts if you like, as you see fit, or keep them back, it's up to you. But now, quickly, call up the wild joy of war at once. It's wrong to malinger here with talk, wasting time. Our greatest work lies all before us, still to do. Just as you see Achilles charge the front once more, hurling his bronze spear, smashing Troy's battalions, so each of you remember to battle down your man. But Odysseus cuts in. Not so quickly, brave as you are, godlike Achilles. Achaea's troops are hungry. Don't drive them against Troy to fight the Trojans. It's no quick skirmish shaping once the massed formations of men begin to clash with a god-breathing fury in both sides at once. No, command them now to take their food and wine by the fast ships, a soldier's strength and nerve. No fighter can battle all day long, cut and thrust till the sun goes down, if he is starved for food. Even though his courage may blaze up for combat, his limbs will turn to lead before he knows it. Thirst and hunger will overtake him quickly. His knees will cave in as the man struggles on. But the one who takes his fill of food and wine before he grapples enemies full force, dawn to dusk, the heart in his chest keeps pounding fresh with courage, nor do his legs give out till all break off from battle. Come, dismiss your ranks, have them make their meal. As for the gifts, let the king of men, Agamemnon, have the lot of them hauled amidst our muster, so all the troops can see the trove themselves. And you, Achilles, you can warm your heart. And let the king stand up before the entire army. Let Agamemnon swear to you his solemn binding oath. He never mounted her bed, never once made love with her, the natural thing, my lord, men and women joined. And you, Achilles, show some human kindness too in your own heart. Then, as a peace offering, let him present you a lavish feast in his tents, so you won't lack your just deserts at last. And you, great son of Atreus, you be more just to others from now on. It is no disgrace for a king to appease a man when the king himself was first to give offense. And Agamemnon. Son of Laertes, I delight to hear your counsel. You have covered it all fairly, point by point. I'll gladly swear your oath. The spirit moves me now. Nor will I break that oath in the eyes of any god. But let Achilles remain here, for the moment, much as his heart would race him into war. The rest remain here too, all in strict formation, till the treasure trove is hauled forth from my tents, and we conceal our binding oaths in blood. And you, Odysseus, I tell you, I command you, pick out young men, the best in our joint forces, bring forth the gifts from my ship, all we promised Achilles just the other day, and bring the women too. Here in the presence of our united armed contingents, let Talthybius quickly prepare a wild boar for me. We must sacrifice to the sun and Father Zeus. But Achilles. Field Marshal Atrides, Lord of men Agamemnon, better busy yourself with that some other time, when a sudden lull in the fighting lets us rest, and the furies not such fire inside my heart. Now our men are lying, mauled on the field, all that Hector, the son of Priam, overwhelmed when Zeus was handing Hector his high glory. But you and Odysseus urge us to a banquet. By God, I'd drive our Argives into battle now, starving, famished, and only then, when the sun goes down, lay on a handsome feast. Once we've avenged our shame. Before then, for me at least, neither food nor drink will travel down my throat, not with my friend dead, there in my shelter, torn to shreds by the sharp bronze, his feet turned to the door, stretched out for burial, round him his comrades mourning. You talk of food? I have no taste for food. What I really crave is slaughter and blood and the choking groans of men. And Odysseus. Achilles, son of Peleus, greatest of the Achaeans, greater than I, stronger with spears, by no small edge. Yet I might just surpass you in seasoned judgment by quite a lot, since I have years on you, and I know the world much better. So let your heart be swayed by what I say. Now, fighting men will sicken of battle quickly. The more dead husks the bronze strews on the ground, the sparser the harvest then, when almighty Zeus tips his scales and the tide of battle turns. The great steward on high who rules our mortal wars. You want the men to grieve for the dead by starving? Impossible! Too many falling, day after day. Battalions! When could we find a breathing space for fasting? No, we must steel our hearts, bury our dead, with tears for the day they die, not one day more. And all those left alive after the hateful carnage, remember food and drink. So all the more fiercely we can fight our enemies, non-stop, no mercy, durable as the bronze that wraps our bodies. Let no one hold back now, waiting further summons. These are your summons, pain and death to the man who sulks beside the ships. Now, all in a mass, drive hard against them, rousing, battering war against these stallion-breaking Trojans. So all the ransom that Agamemnon promised is brought from his tent and given to Achilles. A boar is brought out for sacrifice, and the various rituals are performed. Achilles tells the Achaeans to eat and get ready for battle. His Myrmidons take the ransom, including Briseis, back to the tent of Achilles. When Briseis sees Patroclus, she cries for him. "Patroclus, dearest joy of my heart, my harrowed, broken heart. I left you alive that day I left these shelters. Now I come back to find you fallen, captain of armies. So grief gives way to grief, my life one endless sorrow. The husband to whom my father and noble mother gave me, saw him torn by the sharp bronze before our city. And my 3 brothers, a single mother bore us. My brothers, how I loved you. You all went down to death on the same day. But you, Patroclus, you would not let me weep, not when the swift Achilles cut my husband down, not when he plundered the lordly Mynes city, not even weep. No, again and again you vowed you'd make me godlike Achilles' lawful wedded wife. You would sail me west in your warships, home to Phthia, and there with the Myrmidons hold my marriage feast. So now I mourn your death. I will never stop. You were always kind." Meanwhile, the Achaean warlords gather around Achilles, trying to get him to eat. Achilles refuses, and many of the kings scatter before his firm words. Agamemnon stays with Menelaus, Odysseus, Nestor, Idomeneus, and Phoenix to try to comfort the grieving Achilles. Athena sees Achilles in his grief and flies down from Olympus to give him strength and energy. Achilles then arms for battle with the rest of the Achaeans.